Your time is your most valuable asset. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to start buying back your time, why it's one of the highest return investments you can make, and the specific framework I use to decide what's worth outsourcing and what's not. Whether it's in your personal life or in your business, and whether you have the money to start doing this today or you're not quite there yet. I'm also going to walk you through specifically how I buy back my time and what I pay for and how that's evolved over the years, including the stuff that honestly I started paying for before I could really afford it. The idea of buying back your time, it might excite you or it might scare you and make you a little uncomfortable. But I promise you that this is one of those important things you need to learn to create more freedom, make faster progress towards your goals, and build a life that actually feels good to live. Trust me, if those things are important to you, then this is a video that you need to watch until the very end. Hey friend, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Jillz and I help women step into their power, tap into their divine feminine, and become their best self, live their best life. So if that's something you want to do, you should subscribe and stick around. And if you want more from me, you should sign up for my free newsletter, The Dream Life Digest. It lands in your inbox every Tuesday, and it's where I go a bit deeper on things like money, manifestation, feminine energy, relationships, business, living your best life, living life on easy mode. So if you want to sign up for that, the link is below. So there is an investment with a higher return than almost anything else you can buy, and it's buying back your time. When we think of investments, we often think of investing in stocks, investing in real estate, investing in our education, or even sometimes investing in that nice cashmere sweater because it'll last forever and it's cute. And those are all great, I recommend. But investing in getting your time back, for some reason, that can feel indulgent and lazy. It feels like something you should only do after you've made it. And I think that's the part that we get entirely backwards. Because when you start buying back your time, yes, maybe someone will come clean your house and you'll have a nice clean house, and that is lovely. But it's more so about buying back your energy, your focus, your creativity, buying back the mental space to work on the things that actually move your life forward in the direction you want. Whether that's building a business or going to the gym or being more present with your family or learning a new skill or even just getting enough sleep. And this is something that I feel extremely passionate about and something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, especially because of the guilt and discomfort that so many women feel around this. And I hate it, and I want to change your perspective on this, because often when we can do something ourselves, then that means that we can feel really uncomfortable letting someone else do it for us, or paying someone else to do it for us. Whether it feels wasteful or awkward, or like it makes us lazy or not self-sufficient, or we're being spoiled and ridiculous, or we pride ourselves on being independent and we can do it all. Or maybe it just feels like we haven't earned it yet, and so we don't even consider it. You think this mindset is making you better off and more responsible, but what it's really doing is holding you back. We tell ourselves, I can do it. And yes, you probably can, but that's not really the question. The question is should you? There's this book called We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers, and if you want to be wealthy, you should read it. But there was this one funny line in the book, and she was basically like, if you're too afraid to let people help you and do your laundry because you don't want people to see your underwear, then that's a problem and you're doing yourself a disservice. And that's the thing, letting people help you is kinda a weirdly, inherently vulnerable thing. When you let people into your home to maybe help you keep things clean, it's a little vulnerable. When you let people into your business that you've built alone for 3 years to help you, that's vulnerable. When you let people do things for you, if you're not used to it, it feels weirdly vulnerable and awkward. I also think it's interesting that historically, men have always been much more comfortable receiving support in pursuit of their careers and their growth. For generations, it was considered very normal for a man to receive support behind the scenes, whether that was from his wife or his family or his employees or whoever. But women, on the other hand, were often taught to be the support, to be the helper, to take care of everyone else. So when it's our turn to receive help, it can feel a little uncomfy. So my point is that I think a lot of women are often socialized to feel guilty receiving support, while men are often socialized to expect support in pursuit of their work. And that support is what allows you to blossom and create the life you want. It's not just something you get after you're rich and successful. It's also what you need to invest in to get there. And what you gotta realize is that everyone who is successful has help. and they don't do it all alone. There's this saying of like, well, Beyonce has the same 24 hours in a day that you do. And while technically, yes, that's true, but not really. She obviously has an immense amount of people helping her. I'm guessing cleaners and laundry and chefs and personal trainers and makeup artists and PR people and creative directors and stylists and childcare. People who look like they do it all rarely do it all. They have help, and successful people have support behind the scenes. You just don't see them. And that's not something to feel resentful about. That is something to learn from and be inspired by. So again, the question isn't, can I do this myself? Of course you can. The better question is this the highest and best use of my time to get to where I want to go? That one question has become the filter I run almost every decision through, and it's the framework I want to teach you today. And it's what I want you to open your mind to. So let's get into the good stuff now, and I want you to keep that question in mind. Is this the highest and best use of my time to get to where I want to go? Because you have to remember that everything that you do, everything that you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. Every hour you spend doing one task is an hour that you can't spend doing something else. So ask yourself, what is this costing me to keep doing this myself? And is this something that anyone could do or only I could do? So to make this super easy, I want you to think about your time using this really simple matrix. So let me show you. Imagine a graph, and you can apply this to your personal life and your business. It works just the same. On the horizontal axis, we have your energy. So does this task completely drain you, or does it give you energy? Does it light you up? On the left side of this axis is things that are draining. And on the right side of this axis are things that give you energy. Then on the vertical axis, we have how difficult this task would be to hand off. At the bottom are things that are relatively easy to delegate. So that means they don't require a lot of specialized knowledge. They're generally pretty easy to outsource, and someone else could probably do them just as well as you or close to it. So for this, think laundry, cleaning, grocery shopping, basic admin work. And as you move higher up the graph, the tasks become harder to hand off. Maybe they require years of expertise. Maybe they're just really expensive to outsource. Or maybe they're the things that genuinely require you and only you can do. And the things that you're really good at. Like I'm the only person in my business who can film a YouTube video for my channel, right? I can't outsource that. You can't outsource building a deeper relationship with your spouse and children. You have to put in the time to do that. You can't outsource having someone else go to the gym for you and get stronger for you. That's not how it works, right? So some parts of your life you can delegate, and some tasks are a lot harder or are impossible. Again, business or personal life, it doesn't matter, it's the same. So now here's what you're gonna do. You're going to take a piece of paper or use your iPad, whatever, and you're gonna draw out this matrix, and you are going to place on this matrix all the different tasks that you have to do, wherever you think they should go. And if you have your own business, I recommend doing one for your personal life and one separate one for your business, just so it doesn't get too cluttered. So let me talk you through mine. And for this example, I'm just gonna mix business and pleasure to walk you through examples for each. Laundry. Okay, I don't like doing it, it's boring, it drains me, and someone else can do it. So that goes down here. And also down here, I would put house cleaning. In my business, any sort of customer service emails, that's pretty draining, and I'm not the one who has to do it, so I'm gonna put that right here. Writing and filming my videos, that's something that generally energizes me, and only I can do it, so I'm gonna put that right up here. Cooking, meh, I don't love doing it every single day. I'd probably put that right here. Working out. Only I can do that, obviously, and I would say that that gives me slight energy. So I'll put working out right here. Walking my dog. I love to do this, but this is something that someone else could easily do for me. So I would put that down here. Video editing. Pretty draining, but not too hard to hand off. Writing and recording sponsorships. I would say that that is slightly draining for me. Even though it's pretty easy, I'd still say it's slightly draining, and it's also much harder to hand off. So I would put sponsorships right up here. Okay, now let's look at all of this, and let's look at specifically the tasks that you put in this quadrant right here. This is where you start. This is where you focus. Those are usually the first things I'd look at for outsourcing, automating, simplifying. And I would look at these things and think, where's the first place I can start? Now, obviously your budget shapes what you can do here, but this works at every budget, not just once you're rich. On a smaller budget, maybe it's getting your groceries delivered every single week instead of going to get them so you save 2 hours. Or putting all the household basics on auto ship so you never have to think about them again. On a bigger budget, maybe it's investing in a housekeeper or a laundry service or a virtual assistant for 5 hours a week. And further down the road, maybe a full-time assistant or someone who cooks all your meals for you. Same corner of the chart, same principle. You just start where you are and move up as you can. Now, the tasks in this quadrant are the ones that give you energy but are still easy to hand off. So let's say that you love cooking dinner every single night. It doesn't mean you need to outsource it. Things that give you energy and light you up are important. I would only start considering getting help here or outsourcing one day if this quadrant gets completely overloaded, because even the things you love can crowd out the things that matter most to you. This quadrant has the tasks that are hard to hand off but draining to you. You don't even want to start tackling these until you can get all of these completely off your plate. But these are the ones that are often worth improving through things like better systems or better tech, better habits, maybe like batching, delegating out pieces of it, maybe not the full thing. Or once you get in the financial space to do so, you can outsource for someone whose zone of genius is right here. It's usually just gonna be a bit more expensive. Like for example, a financial expert or a tax expert. They cost more, they take more work and trust to hand off, but when you finally do, it's worth it. And finally, you have tasks that energize you and are hard to hand off. This is your sweet spot. This is your unique value, and this is what you need to protect at all costs. These are the things that move your life forward in really big ways, whether that's growing your business, making more money, deepening your relationships, or making progress towards the life you actually want. Eventually, how amazing would it feel if 80% of your days were just these things? That's the goal, to intentionally design your life so that more and more of your time is spent doing the things that you are uniquely good at, the things that make you feel alive, and the things that truly move the needle for you in your life. So when you fill out this matrix for yourself, you're going to have these little tasks everywhere on all these different quadrants. So let me make this very clear. This right here is what you protect. This right here is your personal choice. It's up to you. This is what you optimize, and this is what you outsource first. Now, if you want to look at this a bit more financially, like you need a little bit more structure about what you can afford and what you can't, there's this book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell, and he has something in there called the buyback rate. So here's how it works. So you take your annual income, and for this example, let's just say 100K, and you divide it by 2,000 hours, because that's roughly the amount of working hours in a year. And that gives you an effective hourly rate of about $50 an hour. Now he says to take that number and divide by 4, which will equal about $12.50. Now he says to take your hourly rate and divide by 4 because that gives you a really healthy safety margin. And so with his buyback rate, he's basically saying at your 100K income level, anything that is $12.50 or below an hour, you should absolutely, without question, outsource every single time. Now, the reality is that when you're not making that much money, the buyback rate is quite low. But this rate, it grows with you as you make more money. You know, when you're earning less, you start with cheap, easy stuff. And when you start earning more, you can start tackling more and taking more off your list. Now, personally though, I'm just gonna be honest, I don't use this specifically. I only use this as a rough guideline because I don't think that money is the only thing that matters. I think the most important thing that matters is your energy. And sometimes I will happily pay more than my buyback rate if it saves me a ton of energy and a ton of time and focus. Time to focus on my goals and the things that only I can uniquely do. Again, I don't personally follow this all the time, but if you want to, that's up to you. Now, I want to get into all the things that I have personally outsourced and how I buy back my time. But I do want to be transparent, especially after talking about the buyback formula. I honestly started outsourcing before I could really afford it. And I think it's important that I say that. Because again, that buyback formula was never a hard and fast rule, because in the beginning, the math wouldn't have justified what I invested in. I always took that formula as a tool, not a law. And I have the belief that sometimes you have to bet on yourself a little bit. Now, absolutely, please don't take this as financial advice, okay? Don't be reckless with your money. I'm not saying go into debt to hire a personal personal driver for yourself, okay? But Cole and I really looked at buying back our time as an investment in ourselves and in the life we were trying to build. And just like any investment, we knew that we weren't going to get that money back overnight. We expected it to take time, but we believed it would eventually. And I can say with full confidence that it did. For me and my husband, we never really looked at buying back our time as an expense. We saw it as an investment that would eventually let us earn more and live more. So I have a lot of help now, but please realize that I didn't start with any. And I have slowly been buying back my time over the years, over the past like 10 years. So let me walk you through my timeline, and I'm gonna go in chronological order, and it kind of bounces back and forth between personal life and business. Now, the very first thing that I outsourced was a housekeeper. And I honestly think that this is one of the best first outsourcing investments you can have. But in the beginning, we only had a housekeeper come maybe once every like 2 to 3 months because that was all we could afford. And in between that, we just took care of the apartment ourselves. Then my next level up was that I bumped up a housekeeper to come regularly once every 2 weeks. And then eventually I bumped up the housekeeper to come once every week. And it was glorious. Having a clean home really does just elevate your energy. After that, the next way that I continued to buy back my time is that I hired my wonderful video editor. That was really the first investment that I made into my business other than just buying myself a camera. And that was a fabulous investment. Love ya. Then later on, we decided to invest in even more help. And this is where my life started to completely change. I found a new housekeeper who could also do our laundry. And wow, amazing. So she would come for one full day once a week. And we loved her so much, and she added so much value to our lives. So later on, we were like, can you come 2 times a week? And she took on more and more responsibilities around the house. So on top of what she was already doing, she also added on some house manager and personal assistant like tasks. If something in the house broke, she would call and get it scheduled to get fixed. She would take in our dry cleaning and pick it up. She would handle returns. She would help keep stock of the house for things that we always use, like shampoo and toilet paper and paper towels, Ziploc bags, you know, whatever, those types of things. Like all the basics that you don't want to run out of. And sometimes she would take Piper for a walk too. Then later on, there's this organic meal prep company in Nashville that I've just heard so many great things about, and we decided to try it. So we have someone meal prep lunch and dinner for us 4 days a week. And how it works is she cooks at her house. It's mostly organic, clean ingredients. And then she drops off the meals. They're basically already pre-portioned. She drops them off at our house. We stick them in the fridge. And when we want to eat them, I just put them in the oven and warm them up. And then we cook ourselves for breakfast, you know, and for the 3 other days. And we usually go out on like a date night once a week. Then back to business, okay? So I was looking for my first real hire to help me on the business side. You know, like all of the business operations, 20 hours a week, something like that. Well, I ended up finding 2 wonderful ladies who I just loved so much, and so I ended up hiring both of them. It was a great decision. We work great together as a team, and they have been so helpful. And because of that, my main focus in the business gets to stay on a lot of the education and the creative tasks, and I don't have to do a lot of the other things. And so that's what I've outsourced, and it's quite a lot, but it's part of the reason why I haven't burned out. And you better believe that if I have a kid in the future, I will be paying for support. We live across the country from both of our families. My mom passed away a while ago, and it would just be us, no family support like some other people have. So therefore, I would have no shame in paying someone to kind of act like my mommy a little bit and help take care of me and help take care of the baby and teach me how to do things. Like probably a postpartum doula or something, and eventually probably a part-time nanny. I think to live a really good life, it takes a village. But in today's day and age, sometimes you have to pay for it. For most of human history, our village was built in, right? Our families, our communities, we all helped each other. We all lived together and supported one another, helped raise children together, cooked meals together. But the world is different now. And there may be some people who have that built-in village, but the reality is that most people don't. And there is no shame in paying for support to help you build the life you want to live. And that is money incredibly well spent. I hope you got value from this video, and I hope you found this topic as useful and helpful as I have. And if you're here until the very end, leave your favorite yellow emoji in the comments below so I know. And if this whole idea speaks to you, the freedom, the ease, the soft life, supporting yourself so you're not burnt out and exhausted all the time, then you'll probably also love this video, how to be a relaxed woman. And I mean, you can have all the money in the world and get all the help, but if at a core level, on a nervous system level, you can't relax, then it doesn't even really matter. So I hope to see you over there, or I'll just see you next time in my next video. Bye.